top stories, Ministry urges Diaspora to visit their origin Ethiopia and invest in. Former Israeli ambassador to Ethiopia, Avi Granot, called on his nation to stand by Ethiopia. Hello, many thanks for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs called Diaspora to visit their origin Ethiopia and invest in various sectors. Talking to ETV English, spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia, Dina Mufti, said the recent engagement of Ethiopian diaspora has been quite encouraging. Habtamu Ashagri has more.
Recently, Ethiopian diasporas are highly participating and voicing the concern of their motherland to the rest of the world in various ways. Talking to ETV English, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia spokesperson Dina Mufti calls upon Ethiopian diasporas to do business here in various fields.
There is a call made to Ethiopian diaspora to come here in millions and express solidarity to its compatriots at home. And that is a big historic event in the history of this country, and it's a big-time deal for diaspora and the people.
I can assure you the Foreign Office and Diaspora Agency and member of Ethiopian diaspora community, my associations, we're working together with the Foreign Office and with the agency and with Prime Minister Office, organizing how to welcome 1 million returnees, Ethiopians, back home.
According to Dina, the government of Ethiopia appreciates the role of Ethiopian diasporas to display the hard fact on the ground to the international community in Ethiopia.
Well, I want to thank them for what they have been doing so far. What they have been doing hitherto is they deserve gratitude, but they can boost that one. They can invest in the country, they can attract investors, tourists, they can and they can help also in the transfer of technology. Above all, their expression of the solidarity at this critical time is a big time, and I call them, come on, help your compatriots here. Visit your country, enjoy.
The spokesperson remarked the government of Ethiopia is undertaking activities to welcome Ethiopian diasporas and Ethiopian nationals to play their unprecedented role.
Ethiopian diaspora in the different parts of the world represent Ethiopian national interest, and they have been voicing against pressures on Ethiopia, against unwarranted pressures on Ethiopia. They are saying no more pressures, and they are against these pressures because these pressures are unlawful, unjust, and wrong. And this is, in fact, a big-time record for Ethiopian diaspora. It's a big achievement for the Ethiopian diaspora as well. And this Ethiopian diaspora have been supporting Ethiopian compatriots in various forms.
Diaspora has helped financially during this period, and they still are helping financially. But besides that, they are playing an incredibly beautiful, strong, enthusiastic diplomatic role. They're fighting, and they are winning.
It is indicated the call of the government to the Ethiopian diaspora is also the call to the Africans to visit their capital, Addis Ababa.
This is an important statement on behalf of Ethiopians at home and abroad, Africans in the diaspora, and all peoples of the world who have been discriminated against, displaced, subjugated to all forms of economic, cultural, political subjugation based on foreign policies and the foreign way, Western way of doing things without considering Ethiopia.
Information obtained from the Ethiopian Diaspora Agency showing around 5 million Ethiopian diasporas and Ethiopian nationals are residing abroad.
Ethiopian ambassador to the UK said only legitimately elected government defends Ethiopia. Unfair meddling is unacceptable. Ethiopian diaspora in the UK pledged to continue their unwavering support to the government. Goshu Melliso has more.
A seasoned Israeli diplomat and former Israeli ambassador to Ethiopia, Avi Grant served as foreign relations and political advisor to the Israeli president, Deputy Director General at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and head of the Africa Division. The diplomat, along with the Ethiopian ambassador to Israel, Ambassador Reta Alemu, spent some time with Edevi discussing current issues. Avi Grant says some Western countries should come to their senses and stop interfering with Ethiopia's domestic affairs and undermining the country's democratically elected government.
Any attempt by any groupings of any denominations to try and shatter that democratically elected government and the unity of the country for its own interests is completely unacceptable, stands against all rules and regulations, stands against all international standards. And I have to tell you honestly that I am a bit surprised by the approach of the United States, by European countries, negating the right of the democratically elected government to rule its country, to rule its citizens, and to ensure the integration, complete integration of Ethiopia.
He also says the state of Israel should stand by Ethiopia, which is in the midst of foreign pressures and external meddling in its sovereign affairs.
We in Israel should do every possible effort to strengthen the country, to strengthen its position vis-à-vis the world, to make sure that it is better understood, whether it is in the United States administration, whether it is in European governments, whether it is in the media. And the fact that there are people, bad people, who actually challenge those rights of Ethiopia should absolutely in no way prevent us from strengthening our bond with the country and making sure that the country is going ahead with its plans, both when it comes to economic, when it comes to tourism, as well as when it comes to enhancing peace and security throughout the whole region.
Ethiopian ambassador to Israel, Ambassador Reta Alemu, for his part, disclosed the diaspora community in Israel is also answering the call extended by the Ethiopian government.
Here in Israel, there are over 160,000 Ethiopian Israelis, and we anticipate that thousands will join us to visit their second home. And we have created community groups, and especially we will be focusing on the second generation of Ethiopians, because, the first generation are well connected. They have been in Ethiopia. They would usually often visit Ethiopia once a year. And for the second generation who were born here, over half of this population are interested in going and visiting Ethiopia. In that connection, we have created a new program, Back to the Origin.
They have also taken other occasions to highlight the age-long strong diplomatic and economic ties Ethiopia and Israel have been enjoying for centuries now.
The news you saw was former Israeli ambassador to Ethiopia calling on his nation to stand by Ethiopia in its fight against pressures by some Western nations, as well as media campaigns. Negating the rights of the democratically elected government of Ethiopia is not only surprising, but also a naive approach that is quite upsetting. These remarks came from the former Israeli ambassador to Ethiopia, Avi Grant, in his exclusive interview with ETV. Santayo Tamrat presented the details.
Today, Ethiopia is making significant strides in transforming its political, social, and economic landscape.
ኢትዮጵያና ሕዝቦቿን ይባርክ። አመሰግናለሁ።
But with an We as Ethiopians in the diaspora possess an extraordinary amount of goodwill, resources, and skill sets to help our country tackle the broad range of social, economic, and political problems we face today. And please don't forget that we need you. Every single Ethiopian is deserving and is worthy of a great education, access to clean water, and living a life without poverty. Remember about the people on the other side of our giving.
All time.
Welcome back. Ethiopian ambassador to the UK said only legitimately elected government defends Ethiopia. Unfair meddling is unacceptable. Ethiopian diaspora in the UK pledged to continue their unwavering support to the government. Goshu Melliso has more.
I wish for my country.
The No More movement is gaining momentum in galvanizing Africans and friends of Ethiopia to say no to subtle exploitation. Hundreds of Ethiopians in the UK have joined the campaign to show solidarity and denounce the unfair meddling. During the event, Ethiopian ambassador to the UK, Teferi Mellesa, said only legitimately elected government defends Ethiopia.
The Ethiopian diaspora in the UK standing alongside its Prime Minister, its government and its people. The Ethiopian people has elected its government last June. And this is an elected government that is defending Ethiopia. But Western countries are going against an elected government and supporting a terrorist organization. All the Western media has ganged up and is promoting the terrorist narrative. So we are standing against that and we are saying no more.
Chairman of the Defend Ethiopia Task Force in the UK said Ethiopia had the ability and wisdom to resolve its own problem.
What we're saying is we make a decision about our own country. Leave Ethiopia alone. Leave the Horn of Africa alone. Okay? So we've been free people. We remain free people. We know how to handle our own problems, right? We've been a country with a state before the Westerns have had a nation. So we have been nations of thousands of years. So it's not that they teach us how to govern ourselves, right? If they want to help us or if they want a good partnership, they need to respect the sovereignty of our country. So we've got the power, we've got the muscle, we've got the wisdom, and we've got the will, okay, to make our country solve its problems and be a good model.
Participants vowed to strengthen their support to the government, adding the issue is not only Ethiopia, but also Pan-African.
I'm here to support my government from Ethiopia. I've seen a lot of news where they are quite negative towards my country and our Prime Minister, and we're just here to show solidarity to him and to his government.
I'm really happy and proud to be Ethiopian, so much so that what's happening in Ethiopia now is hurting me. We're being portrayed as what's happening, the war, it's affecting the wrong groups of people, and we want to take our power back. This is a Pan-African issue, so we're here to support all the displaced people as a result of this war, but also to tell the UK media, the Western media, that Ethiopia is supporting its government. We want the best for Ethiopia.
Ethiopian ambassador to the UK conveyed message to the diaspora to foster their unity and withstand multifaceted existential threat.
Our message is let's stand together. If we don't stand together, we fail. But if we stand together, we prevail. So let's stand together and support the government our army to defeat the Trojan horse, the terrorist organization, and go back to our reform to develop our economy and build peace and democratization in Ethiopia.
In addition to denouncing the unfair meddling on internal affairs of Ethiopia, the diaspora raised funds for the displaced people in the country.
The anti-war #NoMore movement still continues to rock the world, opposing the ongoing Western media disinformation campaign, Western economic warfare, diplomatic propaganda, and military interventions in Africa in general. The latest development of this movement saw a wave of protests, rallies being organized in Australia and Jamaica as well as Djibouti. It remains the top trending African campaign on Twitter and other social media platforms. In the following piece, we'll take a look at the vibe and the colors reflected throughout the rallies across the globe. Take a look. Very powerful images there. Ethiopians rallied in Israel to say no more to external pressure against their country of origin. They staged in front of U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem to say no to diplomatic force and undue interference on Ethiopia. Demonstrators also requested Western countries, particularly the U.S., to stop their unreasonable pressure on Ethiopians and to condemn the atrocities of terrorist TPLF in the state of Amhara and Afar. They also strongly urged to listen to the voices of Ethiopians and to cooperate in bringing criminals to justice. Take a look at this. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia has donated about 4 million birr worth of food and non-food items to displaced people in the Amhara region. A delegation of the ministry, led by State Minister Burtukan Ayano, has handed over the donation to pertinent bodies in Bahir Dar. Besides representing the country in the diplomatic sector, staffers of the ministry are committed to supporting people who are suffering from the destructive acts of the TPLF. The ministry's delegation has also paid a visit and hosted dinner to soldiers encamped in Bahir Dar. Ambassador Burtukan thanked the soldiers for their sacrifices and expressed her confidence that Ethiopia would prevail at last. Renowned singers that accompanied the delegation have also entertained the soldiers.
These people, they might have taken up foreign passports for a variety of reasons, but they are Ethiopians. So other than, for example, holding political office, we should be allowed to invest in Ethiopia in every sector. That would send a very powerful message. Also give incentives. A lot of Ethiopians, as I said, here in the United States, they have a lot of knowledge. They may not necessarily have a lot of financial capital, but they have knowledge capital. Give them incentives to move back to Ethiopia.
Resources that are available with the Ethiopian diaspora, many educated Ethiopian scholars and professionals, many Ethiopian businessmen and women.
So let them come and see, contributing the benefit.
To a story from across Africa. On his Twitter page, Ethiopia's Prime Minister tweeted his wish for South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to recover swiftly. According to a statement of the South African President Office, Ramaphosa is receiving treatment for mild COVID-19 symptoms after testing positive for the virus on Sunday. The statement did not say whether he had been infected with the Omicron coronavirus variant. Ramaphosa said his own infection serves as a caution to all people in South Africa to be vaccinated and remain vigilant against exposure. Vaccination remains the best protection against severe illness and hospitalization, the statement said. South Africa is currently battling a rapid resurgence driven by the Omicron variant. Ethiopia's government communication service discloses steps have been taken to build a strong macroeconomy of the nation. State Minister for Government Communication Services, Selamawit Kasa, said in a statement, activities are well underway to improve the performance of the macroeconomy of the country. Take a listen to her.
For the last 3 months, we observed our macroeconomic performance, and the inflation showed a sign of decrease compared to the previous 2 months. Adding that, food inflation has decreased by 1.7%. Various measures have been taken to curb inflation, with several measures being taken to reduce costs and administrative change. The work then has yielded results in controlling overall inflation.
According to the minister, to reduce inflation, the government is giving due attention to local goods and services.
The focus area is, as you know, increasing local productivity of various goods and services being given great attention. The government will focus on increasing domestic production, improving the supply of goods and controlling fraud in the supply chain.
In its stride for development, the government is taking tangible steps to build a strong macroeconomy of the nation.
beautiful Cape Town is one of the most multiracial cities in the world. The city sits on South Africa's Cape Peninsula, where the waters of the Atlantic and Indian Oceans converge, and spectacular mountains tumble towards the sea. For decades, Cape Town has been buffeted too by the crosswinds of social upheaval. But just like those early ships, Cape Town had endured some of history's most turbulent waters and set course to an optimistic future. Cape Town's central area is situated in the City Bowl. This amphitheater-shaped area begins at the edge of Table Bay and is backed by the iconic 2-mile-long plateau of Table Mountain. Post-apartheid South Africa is often called the Rainbow Nation, and like a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow, diversity, transformation, and creativity shines out from the city's downtown streets, from its businesses, from its very walls. So come and savor the colors, hope, and freedom of Cape Town.
And finally, to West Africa. Ivory Coast has launched a 10-day vaccination campaign against COVID-19 amid the emergence of the Omicron variant. In Abidjan, health workers and volunteers helped encourage residents to get their jab ahead of the holiday season. Some used megaphones to communicate their message, while others used music. The chief of staff of the country's health ministry, Aka Kofi, told a crowd in the capital that it was vital to receive the vaccine to be protected from the new Omicron variant of the virus. Only 5.3% of Ivory Coast's population has been fully vaccinated. You're watching Addis News Hour. A quick reminder of the day's headlines. Ministry urges diaspora to visit their origin Ethiopia and invest in. And former Israeli ambassador to Ethiopia, Avi Granot, called on his nation to stand by Ethiopia. And that's all we had for now. I'm Tabitha John. Many thanks for watching. Have a good night and take care.